everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we're going through the commentary / analysis for episode 24 of Miraculous Ladybug season 5 representation. So as always, first things first, if you haven't seen it yet, please go and watch it because I'm about to spoil the full thing for you. I definitely don't want that. And second of all, I'm not going to be speculating a ton in this video about what happens next, but even so, I haven't read the show Bible or seen any of the leaks, so I would really appreciate it if you could keep it to yourself. Thank you. But like I said, I'm not going to be speculating too much, and although it's cooled down now, we are still having a heat wave in the UK. I am very warm. I have to shut my window to film because the background noise from outside is just a little bit too loud and it's really picking up on the camera since the camera's kind of near the window anyway. So if it looks like the makeup is melting off my face, it's because it is. Now, this episode. How did I feel about this episode? Let me set the mood for you. I cannot read to you the first line in my notepad in notes for this episode because all it is various swear words. Because I am angry. Not necessarily angry because that's how the episode has made me feel. Well, it is, but it's not. As in, like, I'm not angry about things that happen in the episode apart from the very last thing that happens. That's the only thing I'm truly angry about, and I feel like everyone's kind of angry about that. No, I'm angry because it was the most anticlimactic thing I have ever watched in my entire life, and not only that, it was also cringe central. So I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Maybe I'll change my mind once I've calmed down a little bit and talked through it, but I am angry, okay? I know I'm smiling and trying to look happy, but I am angry inside. Alright, I watched this, so like this morning, oh my god, that was not the time, Pollen. You do this all the time! Anyway, so this morning, got up, got ready, did my Revolution reaction, made the notes, filmed Revolution, edited, then right before lunch I watched representation and filmed my reaction. It was not a good reaction. Then I had lunch and I was talking to one of my friends about it over lunch. Still wasn't happy, rewatched it to take the notes after I ate. And now I've sat down to film and I got changed and stuff. I'm not good. Pollen, you're not helping my mood. Stop. Okay? So, first of all, this is not a thing I'm angry about. If you're not from the UK, I hope you know we do not open the news like that by saying God save the Queen or the King or whatever. If any news channel opened like that, I would not watch it because down with the monarchy. We do not open the news like that, nor do we on the BBC, which is what they were mimicking, really report on celebrity couples arriving anyway. It's not that kind of news programme. The only time we would do something like that is if it was a royal wedding and all these other celebrities are arriving for it, or for the coronation. That would be the only time. No one would care about 2 teenagers who are slightly famous in France arriving in the country. Wouldn't happen. However, speaking of Adrian and Kagami, I understand it was done to like show the audience they had arrived in London and that they were still perpetuating this romance between them that they tried to like set up with the alliance rings in... what episode was it? I forgot what episode it was. Do you know what I mean when like Lyle's having a great time, everyone's like, oh yeah, she's in the alliance ring, she's helping us, then she gets replaced with Kagami. Completely forgotten what episode that was in. But that one. So I understand that, but also like, okay, whatever. But also, the Adrian and Kagami thing that they do show on the news where they're like, oh yeah, we're in love, we're this wonderful teenage couple and stuff. I'm like, was that actually them doing it? Like, they did seem pretty genuine. I mean, it was disgusting to watch, but both of them seem quite genuine, so I'm a bit like, was that you two? Was that your AIs somehow? I don't know. Was slightly confused by that. Was it just like all senti-monster control? Really don't know, because Adrian seemed pretty comfortable saying that, and we all know he's in love with Marinette, so your guess is as good as mine. No idea. And then Felix arrives to get Kagami. Part of me does ship them, another part of me is like, I felt a bit sick watching Felix draw the heart on her window. Also though, they're both senti-monsters, I'm pretty sure. And in emotion, Felix calls the senti-monster his sister. I'm not gonna say anything else, I'm just gonna let you all infer whatever you want to think from that, but you know. Anyway, so then Adrian's just like, I need to see Marinette, I need to explain all of this. I'm just gonna reveal my identity to it. And I was like, you know, Adrian, that's an absolutely solid plan, solid plan. These aren't the things I'm angry about yet, we're gonna get to that soon. At the minute I was liking this episode, I was like, yeah, identity reveal. End of the season, go and do it, Adrian. Makes sense, go and do it. Amazing. And I love how Marinette's waiting to go up the Eiffel Tower to go to the party, and her and Tiki, that little conversation they have. Beautiful. Now this is where the first point of anger comes in. So Kagami and Felix are watching, fine, they kiss, fine. And then Kagami very casually reveals that she knows Marinette is Ladybug, and she's known since, what was it, Perfection. And it was the most anticlimactic reveal ever. The way Kagami just states it, it was just like, huh? I much rather would have had a scene in Perfection showing that and building up to this. Like, there was no like Wishmaker Luca moment, not Alia Ganga's Secrets moment. It was just very matter-of-factly stated, done in a flashback. I rather would have seen it in Perfection and waited somehow for it to pay off, but also it really, in episode 16 Protection, it kind of makes it not make sense, because like Lila manipulates Kagami into thinking Marinette's a liar and not a very nice girl, and I'm like, if you know she is Ladybug, who gives up her free time to save a city when no one knows who, well, very few people know who she is, don't you think that negates everything Lila's been saying? If you know that, so it just doesn't make Protection make any sense. So I'm like, okay. So if you knew before, so Protection 16 if you've forgotten, Perfection when Kagami found out apparently is 12. I'm like, at this point I just kind of don't buy it she knew. In theory, I have really no problem with Kagami knowing. To be fair, I don't care who knows in the show, as long as it's done well, but I'd rather see it in the moment, as in the actual episode it happens in. For example, in episode 12, I rather would have had a scene where we see what we saw in this episode. I would rather have that been in actually Perfection, we saw it then. But then, for also it just, you know, to make sense, because now the reason Kagami got akumatized in Protection, to me anyway, doesn't make sense. So I was just like, right, okay, I feel like it could have had a much better build-up and payoff if we'd known since Perfection that she knew. You know what I mean? Plus as well, like when you do something like that, it makes you want to go back and look for all these like little extra hints and stuff. And really there's none of that. In Emotion, Kagami doesn't act a different way towards Marinette. In Pretender, for example, Kagami doesn't act any other way towards Ladybug knowing she's Marinette. And I'm like, if you know that, you would act a different type of way. And maybe it's just because Kagami's just master of all emotions and is very stoic all of the time. But you cannot tell me she'd have like a little smile on her face like, yep, that's my girl, that's my best friend Marinette, you know what I mean? And then again, why could Lila manipulate her about Marinette in Protection if she knows she is Ladybug and is like literally the kindest person in the city and would do anything to save anyone, including Chloe? Like, so like I'm saying, like I don't mind Kagami knowing, I don't have a problem with that. It's how it's been done, and it was so anticlimactic. So I was just like, right, okay, so that's like the first thing that got me annoyed. Anyway, so then Natalie, oh my god though. My queen. She's gonna die, isn't she? I'm definitely not wearing makeup for the finale. I wasn't sure about doing it today, so I was like, am I gonna cry for these 2 episodes? I didn't cry, by the way. I got emotional in Revolution, but not enough to make me cry. I just got angry for this one. Just unbridled anger towards a kids' TV show. I didn't like how it was written. But oh my god, Natalie. Like all her, like, she's got like white grey streaks in her hair, but Gabriel was just absolutely horrible to her. Like he comes in, slams the table, like, where's my son? It's like, why on earth would she know? She can't move. She has no idea where Adrian is. She can't even leave the bed by the looks of it. She can't even walk. It was horrible to her. And then like, part of me wanted Natalie to fight back to keep the ring. I think Natalie was definitely, sadly, too weak to do that, which, you know, is horrible. But yeah, Gabriel, just disgusting throughout this whole episode. However, saying that, one thing I did really like was basically kind of like threaded throughout. There was no particular order to it. So Cat Noir shows up to fight Monarch Daddy, whose name I've forgotten, Nightmare something or other, Nightmare Mentor, whatever it was. And I really liked how basically Cat Noir who is Adrian, was able to like say everything he wanted to say about the way his dad was treating him because he knew the Akuma was his dad. So I absolutely love that. I think that was really good for Adrian that he finally got to say it without really facing any consequences. Well, he does face some consequences later on, but that's more for running away, not because of what he says, you know? So I was really happy he was able, like he got the chance to say all of that. Love it, and I also love the fight between them in Marinette's room. I thought that was really cool. And wait, hold on, I've missed 2 points that are really major. Hold on, let's just backpedal a second. Okay, first of all, so Kagami knows Marinette as Ladybug. Don't agree with how it was done, but what's done is done. And then Kagami, of all people, has decided, yeah, we can trust Felix. I'm gonna tell him. Why? Like, don't get me wrong, I've always hoped Felix, like he was kind of always like an anti-hero to me. I've always hoped he's going to come over to the good side, and he definitely seems to be edging that way. In Pretension, I feel like he was going that way. This episode especially, I definitely feel 25, 26, he's going to help and join in and fight with them. But why you, Kagami? Why was it up to you to tell someone else Marinette's secret? And it's not just like a secret like, oh, she wears her jeans 20 times before she washes them or something. It's a huge secret, and you told Felix, who I'm assuming Kagami knows by now, did what he did in the season 4 finale, and you told him? Like, why hasn't Kagami possibly berated Felix for doing what he did and also going around for like 2 months by this point, knowing who's the villain in all of this, Gabriel babes, and he's told no one? Anyway, and then the second thing as well. Less anger with this one. So like I said, like it's literally probably been about maybe 2 hours since Adrian left. I don't know. Like I said, they pretty much take place right after each other, but he's definitely got to London. Like I said, it takes about an hour to fly there, and he seems pretty settled into wherever they're staying. I don't know where they're staying. So maybe 2 hours later, and I know obviously what Marinette does see of Adrian is, when I say illusion, I don't mean Rena Rouge illusion, like illusion in that it's Felix that he's putting this on. But like the way Ali is like, oh, just stop Marinette, and I'm like, I understand what you're saying. However, at the same time, her boyfriend's only been gone for a little bit. It's not like a week and she's had a chance to get over it. He's only been gone like a couple of hours possibly by this point. Like, part of me was just like, Ali, you know, let her have this sort of thing. Let her go and do this. And when she's found out it's not him, whatever, she'll come back. Alright, just, you know, let her have this. So back to the point I wasn't meant to be making in the correct order. Felix and Dusu, I loved their little relationship when they were talking on the roof. I'd always hoped Felix would treat Dusu pretty well. That seems to be the case, just holding out some hope for Nuru now. Poor Nuru, feels so bad for them all the time. But then they make the projector with a new Amok, and I'm like, with what Felix says in Emotion and Pretension about how like a senti monster is basically just like any other child, it's up to you to nurture it, and he gets so cut up in Emotion about having to destroy the red moon, the red ball thingy. Surely he's not gonna keep this projector, unless he is. I didn't see him destroy it. Maybe he's keeping this projector, maybe like, yep, this is the one. This is gonna be the thing I keep with me until the day I die, this projector. I don't know. No idea. But anyway, I mean, it's like a pretty cool projector, like it helped with like the different displays on the masks and behind them, and also seemingly with that Ladybug statue. So pretty good projector, but you're only allowed to make one Senti Monster Felix. Is this the one you're choosing? A really cool projector with oddly shaped legs? I don't know. So speaking of the projector, performance starts, and I'm like, when did you two rehearse this? Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't the projector doing all of this. I think the projector was responsible for like backgrounds and the projection on the masks. But I don't think it was responsible for the way Kagami and Felix were moving around and acting things out. So I was like, when did you two have time to rehearse this, you widows? That's what they do on FaceTime. It's like, yeah, this is what we do on our dates. We rehearse a way to tell Marinette that her boyfriend's a senti monster. Yeah, this is how we're gonna do it. This is what we do on our dates. Anyway, I just thought the whole thing, well, actually not the whole thing, 90% of those scenes, because I know they were split up with the Cat Noir scenes in between, were cringy. I hated it pretty much the entire time. I wanted it just to go back to Cat Noir. At some points I was just like, I don't care. I know he's a senti monster. I've known they're all senti monsters for ages. Like, I just need to send these scenes to Cartoon Apocalypse and my life will be complete and he'll finally be out of denial. Like, I did think it was a good way to explain it. It did explain it well, but at the same time I did also really hate it. I just got so much secondhand embarrassment from it personally. Maybe you'll disagree. Like I said, I do think it was good. I gotta keep in mind this show is for kids. I think it was a good way to explain it to them, particularly if they're, you know, maybe a little confused. I would hope they didn't get too confused, because whilst, like, I know while Kagami and Felix like have different things on their mask, and like they have the pigtails for the girls and like the hat for Colt and other things like that, I would hope kids didn't get too confused, because you could clearly tell which one was Kagami and which one was Felix at no matter which time, you know what I mean? So I understood it. I hope children understand it. Stuff like that can be a little confusing for kids, so I hope any kids watching did get it. But I don't know, because I'm 26. I don't know. So like I said, I didn't think it was a good way to do it, but also at the same time I thoroughly hated it. And one thing I really hated was whenever Kagami and Felix kissed wearing the masks. That was just bloody bizarre. Like I said, I just wanted to go back to Cat Noir the whole time. However, one thing I did like about this was, I want to say, the discussion around abuse. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't like a full-on massive discussion about abuse, but it was basically about where Colt and his treatment of Felix was concerned. When I say I really liked it, I don't mean I enjoyed it and I'm glad Felix was treated like that. Of course I don't. I mean, I liked it in terms of how that was addressed and how that was treated. I think that was done really well, and it did finally garner me some sympathy for Felix, because all this time I haven't really felt all that bad for him. I'm just a bit like, yeah, Felix. And moving on, you know what I mean? So I'm really glad that was in there, and they had an attempt at a discussion at it, and I actually really liked the way that was done. So that was pretty much one of the only things I liked about the, I'm gonna call it the mask sequence. I really liked that about it. Not much else, to be honest. So whilst all that's happening, interspersed is the scenes between Cat Noir and Monarch. So like I said, I liked that Adrien got a chance to tell his dad how he really feels about him and the way he's been treated his whole life, particularly the past year. And then he like gets hit with like the nightmare thing and enters like the nightmare scenario, which is really ironic. That's the nightmare scenario. That's what everyone gets. If you didn't know, the reason I'm calling that ironic is because it's the name of my book. Go back. But I really liked the idea. However, I really wish it had been a bit longer. Possibly this is just due to my own expectations, but I had been expecting, not when I say similar, I just mean a bit similar in terms of length, similar to the wish in Jubilation Joe when they get hit by Mr. Damocles' power. I wish it had been a bit longer, just so we can see how much more horrific it is, because later on, I know kind of the cause of it is because she hasn't done the Miraculous Ladybug yet, but Adrien is really traumatized by it, so I feel like it going on for 20 seconds longer even would have helped that moment later on just pay off a little bit more before someone says, oh hey, where could we have got that time from the episode? I think they could have cut the opening of the mask story, like the Senti Monster telling story, and just said like, once upon a time there were these two girls who were twins, and just started there instead of the king and queen having babies basically. So if they just cut it there with the sisters already being born, and one of them's a curious princess and one of them's like a more well-behaved princess, it would have given extra time for Cat Noir, and we could have seen his nightmare scenario a little bit more and how it affected him, you know. And another thing I did like about the mask sequence is that Gabriel basically asked Colt for one of like his best men to help protect Adrien, which is ironic because Maurice is a better father to Adrien than Gabriel will ever hope to be. And then basically it is confirmed that Felix and Adrien are Senti monsters. And literally the only reaction to it that Marinette has is that her eyes widen. Like I said, this is something I got angry about, because I was like, it's a huge thing, and that's her only reaction to it. I was like, come on! Like, she had a bigger reaction to finding out that Felix had basically been abused by his dad. And don't get me wrong, she should have had a reaction to that, but to have a reaction to that and not to one, finding out your boyfriend is a Senti monster, doesn't really make sense. So I was like, okay. And again, she also had a big reaction to finding out like Felix was why he'd done what he did in Strike Back. So it's like, which again she should have had a big reaction to, but not for the Senti monster one. And I just feel like that should have been explained a little more, his justification, because I feel like they were trying to justify it, that it was okay for him to completely tear apart Marinette's mental health just so he could get his hands on the peacock. And don't get me wrong, like Felix needs to keep the peacock Miraculous, 110% get it, because like he says, like if you have the peacock you can still snap them out of existence. You need both the Amok and the peacock to be properly safe if you are Senti. Completely understand, but I feel like they were trying to really justify it, because my perspective of Felix, even though I like him more now, in Strike Back, to me, the way I see Strike Back is that he was basically pure evil in that episode. You know, when he was handing the fetch ball over with the yo-yo to Gabriel Babes, he had a smirk on his face. He wasn't like, I'm desperate, I need to do this. And that's arguably because if he did, you know, Gabriel wouldn't give him what he wanted or whatever, but like Felix had all the cards. You know what I mean? He was just trading at that point. So like, I don't think it would have mattered if he looked desperate. I think Gabriel was going to give them the peacock anyway in return for the rest of the Miraculous. So yeah, I feel like it was trying to justify it. Don't get me wrong, I feel like we have seen a change in Felix. So we only really saw him multiplication at the start of the season. Then I believe the next time I saw him was emotion, and then pretension, and then now, I think I missed out an episode. Maybe. But even just from like those most recent 3 episodes, so the current one, emotion and pretension, we have seen a change in him, which I did like, but I still feel like he's trying to justify his pretty awful actions in the season 4 finale. Like, I feel like Felix owes Marinette an apology for doing that to her, and he can see now who she is and like what's in her heart. And I just feel like that if Felix had gone up to her, to Ladybug I mean, and explained that he was a Senti monster, this is what he needed, and maybe they could work together to get all this done, I feel like, you know, if he'd done that, we solidly could have ended this fight in the season 4 finale, because he found out who Monarch was. And also, just like another point, why has he been holding on to this for so long? It's been a few weeks since the events of pretension in terms of the Miraculous timeline. Why have they waited to tell her? I don't really get it, you know? So anyway, and this is like another thing. So first of all, Kagami basically reveals, Kagami and Felix basically reveal they're aware Marinette is Ladybug. And then secondly, they also basically reveal to her that Monarch Daddy, Hawk Daddy, Shadow Daddy, Scarlet Daddy, whatever name we want to call him, is Gabriel Babes, the father of her boyfriend. And she has zero reaction to it. This is why I'm so angry. We have been waiting, what, 5 years for her to find this out. And I feel like Marinette had a bigger reaction in the Collector, the first episode of season 2, to thinking it may possibly be Gabriel Agreste. I genuinely feel like she had a bigger reaction in that episode to this one when it's been 110% confirmed for her. She seems pretty chill about it. At this point, I'd be panicking. And also, like, oh my god, I can't believe it's him. How could it be him? Why is it him? Why has he done all these things? You know what I mean? Like, and she just has no reaction to it. It's, like, I've calmed down since the video has started, but in my head I'm just like, how can you not have a reaction to that, Marinette? Like, I'm expecting Adrian's reaction to be absolutely stellar, because I'm assuming he's going to find out before the season ends. I'm assuming it's going to be absolutely amazing in order to basically make up for Marinette's non-reaction, because that was awful. I am angry about it. I've waited this long for it, and she has no reaction other than to go for a nap in the art room. Also, did her parents not try looking for her, like, where's our daughter? Oh, she actually had a nap at school, she stayed overnight in the art room. Like, I'm just angry. I've waited this long for it, and her reaction was to stay at school and go to bed. God, I hope she has a bloody good speech when she confronts him. Anyway, I thought the resistance were great, and Zoe just having a jar conveniently to catch the Akuma. That was great. Oh my god, the reveal. I thought the reveal was gonna happen. I was losing it. But Adrian lands on the roof, he's like, it's time to tell her, then he can't go any nearer because of the nightmare or whatever, and he leaves, and then like a second later Ladybug comes out. Killing me, and then the pound it. When we first got that image, I think it was from Gloob, I was like, this is not gonna be good. He's left, he's died, he's relinquished his Miraculous, something's happened. No, they just did the pound it over the phone, so I am relieved. However, the ending, absolutely disgusting. Yes, I'm angry about that, but I feel like we probably all are angry about that. Awful, locking them both in, filming them all the time. I'm pretty sure that's against like some human rights law, especially since they're children as well. Like, disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Honestly, at this point, I think the only ways out of that is Adrian basically revealing his identity, transforming on camera to get him and Kagami out, because now he can do like infinite cataclysms after what happened in Revolution. I think that's the most obvious answer. Hoping one of them has a TV in there and they can possibly see what's being reported happening in Paris. Or from what they've said, they like everyone in the world, or like most countries and stuff, have alliance rings. So perhaps they'll see like what's going on around the world on their TVs, maybe starting with London and then seeing Paris and other countries and stuff like that. And Cat Noir at that point be like, okay, time to go. Paris needs me and Cataclysm out of there, and also save Kagami. I think Argos could save them, Ladybug save them, Ladybug and Argos together. I think that would be great, it would be wonderful. But yeah, just absolutely disgusting behaviour. Ugh. Awful. However, another contender I think for saving possibly could be the bodyguard. He kind of led Adrian into the room, so maybe he'll help them because he'll probably know it's wrong the same way he kind of knew in Revolution it was wrong. Right, so overall I haven't changed my mind, 6 out of 10. Because it was just so anticlimactic. Like, we got so many big revelations. Kagami knows Marinette is Ladybug. Marinette knows that Kagami knows that she's Ladybug. She knows that her boyfriend and Felix are sentient monsters. I doesn't really seem they hinted at Kagami being one, but I'm pretty sure she is. And now Marinette knows Gabriel Babes is Monarch Daddy. 4 massive revelations, and all 4 of them were pretty anticlimactic. I think the best things about this episode were the discussion around abuse, where Felix and Colt are concerned, as well as Adrian finally getting to tell his dad how he feels about them. Those are the best parts of the episode. And I don't think it has many other redeeming qualities. I don't think it was very good. And I'm actually pretty disappointed in it. Like, really disappointed, to be honest. It's not a nice feeling. It's my favourite TV show. I always I hope it's going to be good. I don't go into each episode looking for things to hate about it. I try and go in and look for things I love about it. Maybe that's the wrong way to do it and I should be more neutral, and possibly because of that I felt really let down, more so than possibly other people watching it. But like, it is my favourite TV show, why wouldn't it want to be good? And I just feel really let down by it, to be honest, because like, more so with Marinette finding out Gabriel is Monarch, like the whole plot of the show from day one has her basically been trying to find out who is doing this to Paris, and she had no reaction. I don't get it. I don't get it. So yeah, 6 out of 10. MVP, no one really stood out to me, but if I have to give it to someone, I mean, it's my channel, I make the rules, I don't have to give it to anyone, but I'm going to. I'd say Kagami, to be honest, but I'm kind of annoyed with her too. Like, who says Felix really is on the good side? How do you know Felix wasn't just going to run to his uncle and tell him who Ladybug was? You know? Like, Kagami, I understand you've had a sheltered upbringing, and I think you're possibly autistic like me. And as a result, like, I've known from previous times in my life, don't trust people so easily because you get hurt. I know it's an autistic thing, you want to overshare, you want to tell people stuff, but just when this is a huge secret and it's not even your own secret, just back off a little bit. So yeah, that's basically what I think. Like, saying Gabriel Babes had the Peacock Miraculous is confirmation that he was Shadow Daddy, may he rest in peace, last season. So he's Monarch Daddy now. And like, she has no reaction to it. Like, I'm glad she's like ready to get up and go, ready to fight him. That's kind of like her stance at the end of the episode. She's not as upset anymore. She's like, I can do this, I need to save Adrian, I need to save my boyfriend. Great, good for her. But like, why doesn't she have more of a reaction? I don't get it. We wanted to know for so long and she has no reaction to it. Anyway, besties, I'd love to know what you think of the episode. Did you think it was anticlimactic too? I know a lot of you have had a lot longer than me to think about this since it came out like a week ago now, and I was in Paris when the episode came out. So I've waited. I managed to avoid all the spoilers, by the way, so that was good. So I'm really interested to see what you think since you've had a little bit longer and maybe watched other people's videos on it and have their opinions like influencing yours. I really love to know what you'll think. If you're gonna write me a little essay, that's wonderful. I can't wait to read it, but please put in some paragraphs just so it's a bit easier for me to read. I have really bad eyesight. So I'd love to know what your thoughts on this episode, besties, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!